Idea building. The gift in every great talk. In March 2015, a scientist named Sophie Scott stepped onto the TED stage, and within 2 minutes the entire audience was howling with uncontrollable laughter. Sophie is one of the world's leading researchers on laughter, and she was playing an audio clip of humans laughing to show just how strange the phenomenon is. More like an animal call than speech, as she put it. Her talk was 17 minutes of pure delight. By the end of it, everyone was basking in the warm glow of a deeply pleasurable experience. But there was something else. None of us would ever think of laughter in quite the same way again. Sophie's core idea about laughter, that its evolutionary purpose is to convert social stress into pleasurable alignment, had somehow entered our heads. Now, whenever I see a group of people laughing, I see the phenomenon through new eyes. Yes, I feel the joy and the urge to join in. But I also see social bonding and an ancient biological mechanism at work that makes the whole thing seem even more wondrous. Sophie gave me a gift. Not just the pleasure of listening to her, but an idea that can stay with me forever. I'd like to suggest that Sophie's gift is a beautiful metaphor that can apply to any talk. Your number one mission as a speaker is to take something that matters deeply to you and rebuild it inside the minds of your listeners. We'll call that something an idea, a mental construct that they can hold on to, walk away with value, and, in some sense, be changed by. That is the core reason that the scariest talk I ever had to give turned out to be effective. As I explained earlier, I had 15 minutes to try to convince the TED audience to support its new chapter under my leadership. There were many things wrong with that talk, but it succeeded in one key aspect. It planted an idea inside the minds of those listening. It was the idea that what was truly special about TED was not just the founder I was taking over from. TED's uniqueness lay in being a place where people from every discipline could come together and understand each other. This cross-fertilization really mattered for the world, and therefore the conference would be given nonprofit status and held in trust for the public good. This future was for all of us. This idea changed the way the audience thought about the TED transition. It no longer mattered so much that the founder was leaving. What mattered now was that a special way of sharing knowledge should be preserved. Start with the idea. The central thesis of this book is that anyone who has an idea worth sharing is capable of giving a powerful talk. The only thing that truly matters in public speaking is not confidence, stage presence, or smooth talking. It's having something worth saying. I am using the word idea quite broadly here. It doesn't have to be a scientific breakthrough, a genius invention, or a complex legal theory. It can be a simple how-to, a human insight illustrated with the power of a story, a beautiful image that has meaning, an event you wish might happen in the future, or perhaps just a reminder of what matters most in life. An idea is anything that can change how people see the world. If you can conjure up a compelling idea in people's minds, you have done something wondrous. You have given them a gift of incalculable value. In a very real sense, a little piece of you has become part of them. Do you have ideas that deserve a wider audience? It's amazing how bad we are at judging the answer. A lot of speakers, often male, appear to love the sound of their own voice and are happy to talk for hours without sharing anything much of value. But there are also many people, often female, who massively underestimate the value of their work, their learning, and their insights. If you've picked up this book because you love the idea of strutting the stage and being a TED Talk star, if you want to inspire audiences with your charisma, please put it down right now. Instead, go and work on something that is worth sharing. Style without substance is awful. More likely, you have far more in you worth sharing than you're even aware of. You don't have to have invented lion lights. You've led a life that is yours and yours only. There are experiences you've had that are unique to you. There are insights to be drawn from some of those experiences that are absolutely worth sharing. You just have to figure out which ones. Are you stressed about this? Maybe you have a class assignment, or you need to present the results of your research at a small meeting, or you have a chance to speak to a local Rotary about your organization and try to gain their support. You may feel that you've done nothing that would be worth giving a talk about. You've invented nothing, you're not particularly creative, you don't see yourself as super intelligent, you don't have brilliant ideas about the future, and you're not even sure there's anything you're super passionate about. Well, I grant you that that's a tough starting point. To be worth an audience's time, Most talks require grounding in something that has some depth. It's theoretically possible that the best thing you can do for now is to continue your journey, search for something that really does grab you and make you want to go deep, and pick up this book again in a few years' time. But before you come to that conclusion, it's worth double-checking that your self-assessment is accurate. Maybe you're just lacking self-confidence. There's a paradox here. You have always been you, and you only see yourself from the inside. The bits that others find remarkable in you may be completely invisible to you. To find those bits, you may need to have honest conversations with those who know you best. They will know some parts of you better than you know them yourself. In any case, there's one thing you have that no one else in the world has: your own first-person experience of life. Yesterday you saw a sequence of things and experienced a sequence of emotions that is, quite literally, unique. You are the only human among 7 billion who had that exact experience. So can you make anything of that? Many of the best talks are simply based on a personal story and a simple lesson to be drawn from it. Did you observe anything that surprised you? Maybe you watched a couple of children playing in the park, or had a conversation with a homeless person. Is there something in what you saw that might be interesting to other people? If not, could you imagine spending the next few weeks walking around with your eyes open, being aware of the possibility that some part of your unique journey could be of interest and benefit to others? People love stories, and everyone can learn to tell a good story. Even if the lesson you might draw from the story is familiar, that's okay. Humans need reminding. There's a reason religions have weekly sermons that tell us the same things over and over, packaged in different ways. An important idea, wrapped up in a fresh story, can make a great talk if it's told the right way. Think back over your work of the last 3 or 4 years. What really stands out? What was the last thing you were really excited by or angered by? What are the 2 or 3 things you've done that you're most proud of? When was the last time you were in conversation with someone who said, "That's really interesting"? If you could wave a magic wand, what is the one idea you'd most love to spread to other people's minds? Procrastinate no more. You can use the opportunity of public speaking as motivation to dive more deeply into some topic. We all suffer, to a greater or lesser degree, from some form of procrastination or laziness. There's a lot we'd like to get into in principle, but the internet has so many distractions. The chance to speak in public may be the kick you need to commit to a serious research project. Anyone with a computer or a smartphone has access to pretty much all the world's information. It's just a matter of digging in and seeing what you can uncover. In fact, the same questions you ask as you do your research can help provide the blueprint for your talk. What are the issues that matter most? How are they related? How can they be easily explained? What are the riddles that people don't yet have good answers for? What are the key controversies? You can use your own journey of discovery to suggest your talk's key moments of revelation. So, if you think you might have something but aren't sure you really know enough yet, why not use your public speaking opportunity as an incentive to truly find out? Every time you feel your attention flagging, just remember the prospect of standing on stage with hundreds of eyes peering at you. That will get you through the next hour of effort. In 2015, we tried an experiment at TED headquarters. We granted everyone on the team an extra day off every second week to devote to studying something. We called it Learning Wednesdays. The idea was that, because the organization is committed to lifelong learning, we should practice what we preach and encourage everyone on the team to spend time learning about something they're passionate about. But how did we prevent that just becoming a lazy day of sitting in front of the TV? There was a sting in the tail. Everyone had to commit, at some point during the year, to giving a TED talk to the rest of the organization about what they'd learned. That meant we all got to benefit from one another's knowledge, but, crucially, it also provided the key incentive for people to get on with it and actually learn. You don't need Learning Wednesdays to have this motivation. Any chance at speaking to a group you respect can provide the incentive you need to get off your butt and work on something unique to you. In other words, you don't need to have the perfect knowledge in your head today. Use this opportunity as the reason to discover it. And if, after all that, you're still floundering, maybe you're right. Maybe you should turn down the offer to speak. You might be doing yourself and them a favor. More likely, though, you'll land on something that you and only you can share. Something you'd actually be excited to see out there in the world a little more visibly. For most of the rest of this book, I'm going to assume that you have something you want to talk about, whether it's a lifelong passion, a topic you're eager to dive into more deeply, or a project for work that you have to present. In the chapters to come, I'll be focusing on the how, not the what. But in the final chapter, we'll return to the what, because I'm pretty sure that everyone has something important they could and should share with the rest of us. The astonishing efficacy of language. Okay, you have something meaningful to say, and your goal is to recreate your core idea inside your audience's minds. How do you do that? We shouldn't underestimate how challenging that is. If we could somehow map what that idea about laughter looked like in Sophie Scott's brain, it would probably involve millions of neurons interconnected in an incredibly rich and complex pattern. The pattern would have to include, somehow, images of people guffawing, the sounds that they make, the concepts of evolutionary purpose and of what it means to ease stress, and much more. How on earth is it possible to recreate that whole structure in a group of strangers' minds in just a few minutes? Humans have developed a technology that makes this possible. It's called language. It makes your brain do incredible things. I want you to imagine an elephant, with its trunk painted bright red, waving it to and fro in sync with the shuffling steps of a giant orange parrot, dancing on the elephant's head and shrieking over and over again, "Let's do the fandango." Wow, you have just formed in your mind an image of something that has never existed in history, except in my mind and in the minds of others who read that last sentence. A single sentence can do that, but it depends on you, the listener, having a set of pre-existing concepts. You must already know what an elephant and a parrot are, what the color concepts of red and orange are, and what painted, dancing, and in sync mean. That sentence has prompted you to link those concepts into a brand new pattern. If I had instead started out by saying, I want you to imagine a member of the species Loxodontocyclotus, with proboscis pigmented Pantone 032U, conducting oscillatory motions, you probably would not have formed that image, even though this is the same request in more precise language. So, language works its magic only to the extent that it is shared by speaker and listener. And there's the key clue to how to achieve the miracle of recreating your idea in someone else's brain. You can only use the tools that your audience has access to. If you start only with your language, your concepts, your assumptions, your values, you will fail. So instead, start with theirs. It's only from that common ground that they can begin to build your idea inside their minds. At Princeton University, Dr. Yuri Hassan has been doing groundbreaking research to try to discover how this process works. It's possible to capture in real time the complex brain activity associated with building a concept or remembering a story. It requires a technology called functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI. In one experiment in 2015, Dr. Hassan put a group of volunteers into fMRI machines and played them a 50-minute film that told a story. As they experienced the story, their brain's response patterns were recorded. Some of those patterns could be matched across almost every volunteer, giving concrete physical evidence of the shared experience they were having. Then he asked the volunteers to record their own recollections of the film. Many of these recordings were quite detailed and lasted as long as 20 minutes. Now, and this is the astounding part, he played those recordings to another set of volunteers who had never seen the film and recorded their fMRI data. The patterns shown in the brains of the second set of volunteers, those who listened to the audio recollections only, matched those patterns shown in the minds of the first set of volunteers as they watched the movie. In other words, the power of language alone conjured up the same mental experiences that others had while watching a movie. This is amazing evidence of language's efficacy. It is a power that every public speaker can tap into. Yes, words matter. Some public speaking coaches seek to downplay the importance of language. They may cite research published in 1967 by Professor Albert Mehrabian and claim that only 7% of the effectiveness of communication is down to language, while 38% depends on tone of voice and 55% comes from body language. This has led coaches to focus excessively on developing a speaking style of confidence, charisma, etc., and not worry so much about the words. Unfortunately, this is a complete misinterpretation of what Mehrabian found. His experiments were devoted primarily to discovering how emotion was communicated. So, for example, he would test what would happen if someone said, "That's nice," but said so in an angry tone of voice or with threatening body language. Sure enough, in those circumstances the words don't count for much. But it is absurd to apply this to speaking overall, And Morabian is so tired of being misapplied that his website contains a bolded paragraph begging people not to do this. Yes, communicating emotion is important, and for that aspect of a talk, one's tone of voice and body language do indeed matter a great deal. We discuss this in detail in later chapters. But the whole substance of a talk depends crucially on words. It's the words that tell a story, build an idea, explain the complex, make a reasoned case, or provide a compelling call to action. So, if you hear someone tell you that body language matters more than verbal language in public speaking, please know that they are misinterpreting the science. Or for fun, you could just ask them to repeat their point purely with gestures. We'll spend much of the first half of this book digging into ways in which language can achieve its magic. The fact that we can transfer ideas in this way is why human-to-human speaking matters. It is how our worldviews are built and shaped. Our ideas make us who we are. And speakers who have figured out how to spread their ideas into others' minds are able to create ripple effects of untold consequence. The journey. There's one other beautiful metaphor for a great talk. It is a journey that speaker and audience take together. Speaker Tierney Thies puts it this way. Like all good movies or books, a great talk is transporting. We love to go on adventures, travel someplace new with an informed, if not quirky, guide who can introduce us to things we never knew existed, incite us to crawl out windows into strange worlds, outfit us with new lenses to see the ordinary in an extraordinary way, enrapture us and engage multiple parts of our brains simultaneously. So I often try to fashion my talks around embarking on a journey. What's powerful about this metaphor is that it makes clear why the speaker, like any tour guide, must begin where the audience is and ensure no impossible leaps or inexplicable shifts in direction. Whether the journey is one of exploration, explanation, or persuasion, the net result is to have brought the audience to a beautiful new place. And that too is a gift. Whichever metaphor you use, focusing on what you will give to your audience is the perfect foundation for preparing your talk.